After 40 days of struggle, divine restoration is revealed. Your miraculous new beginning awaits. In the heart of a quaint English village, nestled among rolling green hills, Sarah lived with a faith as sturdy as the stone walls of her beloved church. For years, she had prayed fervently for her husband's healing from a relentless illness that had taken its toll on both his body and spirit. With each prayer, she clung to the promises laid out in the scriptures, believing that sooner or later, God's hand would restore him. Then came the day that marked a turning point: 40 days of prayer and fasting. The whispers of the Spirit coursed through her, wrapping her in warmth as she sought an answer. With her church family supporting her, their prayers rose like incense in the old chapel. The stained glass shimmered, and the flickering candles cast dancing shadows, as if heaven was alive with their petitions. This was no ordinary phase. It was a mystical journey where faith danced hand in hand with fear. Each morning when she awoke, light filled her heart, wrapping her in divine possibility. But hope turned to despair when the doctors delivered a terminal diagnosis. "I'm so sorry," they said, and Sarah felt the words like a crushing weight on her already weary soul. In that moment, unshakable doubt crept in. Was her faith misplaced? Those once stalwart church halls echoed with murmurs and whispers, eliciting tension between the uncertain and the faithful. Was God truly listening? Despite the upheaval, Sarah remained resolute. Her heart whispered that a miracle still beckoned, and she'd do anything for her husband. In search of hope, she learned of a renowned faith healer nearby, a man whose reputation sparked both fervor and controversy. Amid hushed conversations and flickering glances, Sarah found herself at a crossroads. The thought of seeking this unconventional help wrestled with her traditional beliefs, thrumming within her like a heartbeat. Yet resolve surged through her veins. She felt a spark of divine inspiration blooming, revealing to her that perhaps this turmoil was part of something larger, a bold narrative orchestrated by God. As she faced her doubts, she gathered her family and church members, all with a collective sense of urgency. Their voices mingled in passionate prayer that seemed almost tangible. A cool breeze brushed against her cheek as if heaven was eavesdropping. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the words flowed from their mouths, a warmth enveloped Sarah, igniting her spirit with a fierce longing. The air crackled, resonating with faith and the tantalizing potential of the miraculous. Each plea for help ignited an electric energy that seemed to pulse in the very fibers of the chapel. Would their cries pierce the thick veil of uncertainty? Would healing reign over despair? Even as doubts lingered in the background, Sarah felt hope rise unwaveringly within her heart. Would this gathering of faith transcend their heartbreak into something beautiful? Gathering the threads of trust, she stood on the precipice of anticipation, a moment swirled in infinite possibilities where healing and transformation danced one heartbeat away. What lay on the other side of this prayer? Would they encounter the miraculous or deeper revelations? Only the heavens could answer. As the final prayers echoed through the chapel, Sarah stood at the altar, heart racing. She felt the warmth of those around her, their faith pouring over her like a soft rain. The flickering candles seemed to respond to the fervor in the air, lighting up the darkened corners of her spirit, casting shadows that danced with promise. In that moment, a sudden stillness enveloped the congregation. It was as if time had paused, holding its breath, waiting for a divine whisper. Sarah closed her eyes, and tears began to flow. Were they tears of sorrow or relief? She could not tell. They streamed down her cheeks, washing away lingering doubts, grounding her in the raw reality of her faith. "Lord," she whispered, "your will be done." With each word that left her lips, she sensed a shifting within her, a subtle but profound change. What if the true miracle wasn't just about physical healing, but a deeper understanding of faith? The light outside the stained glass windows reflected hues of golden morning, a beautiful reminder of resurrection and new beginnings. Taking a deep breath, Sarah opened her eyes, her gaze drifting to her husband's empty seat. Would he be there for the next prayer meeting? Would he witness the joy that could spring from desperation? Determined to find her way, she could almost hear the angels urging her forward, their gentle encouragement like a familiar hymn cradling her spirit. Just then, the door creaked open, and the healer entered, a presence both calming and fiery. Dressed in simple attire, his eyes held a depth that spoke of experience and faith intertwined. A hush fell upon the room, the air thick with expectancy. Sarah felt the room shift again, charged with energy, as if the atmosphere itself was vibrating with divine possibility. "Thank you for welcoming me," he addressed them, his voice steady and soothing. "I am here to join your faith with mine. Together we will call upon the Lord. Together we will seek his power." The healer made his way towards Sarah, his expression softening as he approached her. "Your heart is heavy," he said gently, as if he had known her struggles all along. "But remember, in the darkness, his light shines brightest. Trust in the not yet seen." His words enveloped her like a warm embrace, stirring a confidence within her that she thought had long fled. "Will you trust?" he asked, his eyes locked onto hers, an invitation to surrender her burdens, with every ounce of strength. Sarah nodded. This was her moment. She could feel her pastor's hand on her shoulder, steadying her, strengthening her resolve. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the congregation. Trust filled the room like incense, and hope breathed life into their hearts. Together, they prayed once more, voices melding into a celestial chorus. Each plea echoed the desire for healing, not just of body, but of spirit, a complete restoration. Sarah felt the divine current flow through her, as if heaven opened wide, pouring blessings upon them. But just as she thought they were on the brink of something extraordinary, a weighty silence settled, leaving them poised on the edge of belief. Would they see his glory revealed? Did the healer truly carry the anointing they so desperately sought? As Sarah opened her heart to the unknown, she sensed that destiny had intertwined their journeys. What awaited them next was a mystery that only faith could unravel. And with that surrender, a question loomed like a beacon of light. Was this the moment everything changed, or merely the beginning of an even more profound journey into the depths of divine purpose? The healer stood before them, an embodiment of faith and hope. His presence illuminated the room, filling every inch with a sense of divine promise. Sarah felt as if the air shimmered with anticipation, a tangible thickness that wrapped around her. She could see the faces of her fellow congregants, their expressions a canvas of yearning and belief. Everyone was unified in this sacred moment, even the silence spoke volumes. "Those who seek will find," the healer declared, raising his hands as if to beckon the heavens closer. "And those who knock shall have the door opened unto them." Are you ready to seek? Are you ready to knock? His words hung in the air, almost like a challenge. Muffled replies and soft affirmations bounced off the chapel walls, forging a collective resolve. Sarah felt herself pulled deeper within, allowing every doubt to fall away like leaves in autumn. This was their time. This was their call to action. Amidst the murmurs, she sensed a stirring within her heart, a burst of warmth igniting her spirit. With every passing second, she began to understand that this was not merely about her suffering, but about the interconnectedness of their souls in seeking something larger than themselves. The healer's gaze swept over the congregation, catching eyes and acknowledging every soul present. "What if," he introduced quietly, "the healing you seek is also healing for others? What if your journeys, intertwined, pave the way for restoration and transformation?" The question resonated deeply. The thought that her pain could serve a higher purpose left Sarah breathless. Could her struggles indeed translate into triumphs for others? She felt the profound weight of it, as if the burdens she had carried for so long were beginning to lighten, reshaped into something beautiful. With a gentle movement, the healer stepped closer to Sarah, kneeling by her side. "What do you long for, dear one?" he asked, his voice a soothing balm. The sincerity in his eyes made her heart swell, and she felt a whisper of truth rising within her. "I long for healing," she confessed, hardly above a whisper. "For me, yes, but also for my family, for my husband, for our love." "Then let us call forth that healing together," he replied softly. As they joined hands, Sarah felt warmth traveling through her fingers. The healer began to pray not just words but a heartfelt cry to the heavens. With each verse, the congregation's energy fused, harmonizing in faith, an everlasting chorus of hope that filled every corner of the chapel. "Let every spirit be renewed," he declared, "and let those in despair be lifted into the light." Sarah sensed a heavenly current flowing through her, almost like a river breaking free from its banks. Instinctively, she released her own aspirations into the air, her heart soaring with possibilities. Healing was indeed took on a new shape, enveloping not just her, but her community as well. Yet, just when it felt as if divine intervention was imminent, an inexplicable tension rippled through the air, a heaviness that burrowed deep into the hearts of those gathered. They felt it, a hesitation cloaked in wonder. What would this new beginning look like? And would the healing they sought unfold as they imagined? Sarah's heart raced. She could sense the stirring of destiny at the threshold. In the midst of their unity, a question flickered like the dance of candlelight. What miracle awaited on the other side of faith? And were they truly ready to accept the unimaginable transformation ahead? The moment hung in the air, charged with emotions that ran deep. Sarah felt a shiver run down her spine. It was a blend of hope and uncertainty, like standing on the brink of a vast ocean, not knowing what lay beneath the surface. The healer's prayer had opened a door, but the question remained: what awaited them on the other side? One by one, members of the congregation began to stir. Soft whispers and murmurs filled the room, echoing the sentiments that danced in Sarah's mind. There was a palpable buzz of expectation, a collective heartbeat growing stronger as hands clutched tightly, eyes closed in prayer. The healer remained at Sarah's side, his presence a comforting anchor amidst the rising tide of emotions. "Breathe deeply, dear ones," he urged, his voice steady. "In this sacred space we confront our fears and invite the light in. Allow the divine presence to wash over you, cleansing your spirit and renewing your strength." Sarah inhaled deeply, drawing in the courage of those around her. It felt as if each breath was filled with the prayers of her community. Imbued with faith, she let it resonate within her heart, fueling her desire for healing not just for herself, but for everyone who shared this moment with her. Slowly, the heaviness began to lift. Sarah could feel the warmth of connection, a serene current flowing through the gathered souls like a gentle river. Each face reflected a glimmer of hope, a shared understanding that they were not just individuals battling their own trials, they were a tapestry woven together by faith, love, and resilience. Then, unexpectedly, a voice broke through the chorus of shared prayers. It belonged to an older woman, her frail body poised with a fierce determination. "I have lived long enough to see the other side. I know pain, but I also know the balm of Goddess love. Healing isn't just about the body. It's about the spirit. Together we can lift each other." A wave of affirmation surged through the chapel. Others echoed her words, their voices building into a powerful resonance of truth. It was as if the room itself was alive, vibrating with their collective will. Each declaration of faith resonated deeper within Sarah, casting out the shadows of doubt as the energy swirled. The healer's eyes locked onto Sarah's. "What you feel is real," he said, his tone unwavering. "The divinity within you and within your community is powerful. When you heal, it heals us all. Remember, the journey ahead will not always be easy, but with each step and courage, miracles unfold." Tears of gratitude welled in Sarah's eyes, mixing with the exhilaration of shared hope. With that, she resolved to face what lay ahead. Yes, the future was uncertain, but she felt bolstered by the faith surrounding her. "Let us raise our voices together," the healer encouraged, his arms wide open as if to gather them all closer. "Let us celebrate this moment of healing and let our faith soar to the heavens." As their voices lifted in song, an inexplicable peace descended upon the congregation. For the first time, Sarah felt a flicker of light guiding her, illuminating the path ahead and calming the raging sea of her thoughts. But then, just as everything seemed to align, a crackling sound surged through the room, interrupting their communion. Candles flickered. The air seemed to shimmer and pulse. A whisper rippled through Sarah's mind, a gentle nudge urging her to remain alert. What was this presence? Was it a sign of the miraculous transformation they were praying for? Or perhaps a test of their resolve? As doubts began to creep back, that flicker of light remained a promise, a question. What was about to reveal itself in the wake of their united faith? Sarah held her breath once more, caught between the thrill of expectation and the whispers of uncertainty. She was ready to find out. An electric tension filled the chapel, each flickering candle casting dancing shadows on the walls. The congregation stood together in a circle of unity, a living tapestry of faith and vulnerability. Sarah's heart raced as she tuned into the crackling sound, feeling it weave its way through the gentle hum of their song. It was like a whisper from God, urging her to listen closely. Suddenly, the light intensified, brilliant and warm, wrapping around their circle like a divine embrace. The healer raised his hands, and the energy shifted. God is moving among us, he proclaimed, his voice igniting a fire within the gathered souls. This is a moment of restoration. Let your hearts be open. An overwhelming sense of anticipation filled Sarah. She could feel the barriers separating her spirit from the divine starting to dissolve. The whispers of doubt faded into the background, replaced by an echoing certainty. Healing was not just an individual pursuit. It was a communal journey. As they sang louder, an incredible sight unfolded. Wisps of light began to emerge from the center of their circle, swirling like a gentle breeze swirling in the air. Each particle seemed to carry with it a promise of renewal, a reminder of all that could be. Sarah couldn't help but reach out, feeling the warmth spiral through her fingertips. "I can see it," she exclaimed, her voice rising above the harmonies. "The light, it's healing us." Around her, the congregation responded with renewed fervor. Hands gripped tighter, voices soared higher, and some members began to weep openly, their tears flowing as freely as the light. Each note became a prayer, every voice a thread woven into the fabric of hope. The healer smiled, encouraging them, "Let it flow through you. Each beam of light carries your burdens, your struggles. They are transformed into blessings." Sarah felt an almost magnetic pull towards the glowing presence. It drew her in, urging her to surrender her pain. She closed her eyes, the chaos of life outside this sacred space fading into distant echoes. In her mind, images began to flicker, memories of loss, grief, moments when she felt utterly alone. But as quickly as they surfaced, they dissolved into tendrils of light. Each sorrow lifted, transformed, replaced by a wave of profound peace washing over her spirit. Suddenly, the light coalesced into a vision of vast field, brimming with vibrant flowers, a place she had long desired to walk in. The joy of that vision ignited a spark deep within Sarah. This was her new beginning, the place God had promised her. The healer's voice brought her back, grounding her in that moment. To embrace healing is to embrace the unknown. It may come with challenges, but remember, through faith, we shall overcome. The congregation erupted in applause and shouts of gratitude. But deep within, Sarah felt the anticipation swell. What would the path of healing look like? What trials lay before them? As the last echoes of their song faded, an immense stillness settled over the room. The air became thick with expectancy, the energy palpable. In this sacred silence, a voice whispered in Sarah's heart. Not a voice of fear but of profound hope. "Your journey is just beginning. Are you ready to walk where I lead?" With her heart pounding, Sarah opened her eyes, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. The presence in the room shifted once more, drawing Sarah's gaze to the back of the chapel, where a shadow moved against the light. Was this a sign? A messenger? What revelation awaited them? Sarah's breath hitched, the possibilities swirling in her mind. She stood on the edge of transformation, her spirit ablaze with divine curiosity. What divine intervention was about to unfold? The shadow at the back of the chapel shifted again, capturing everyone's attention. An anticipatory hush fell over the congregation, a collective inhale as they turned to see who or what had entered their sacred space. A figure emerged, clothed in soft robes that seemed to glimmer in the chapel's warm light. Sarah strained to see the face, her heart racing. She sensed a deep presence, almost tangible, radiating peace. The healer's voice cut through the stillness. "Welcome, beloved one. Speak your truth to us. Share what the Spirit has revealed." The figure stepped closer, and Sarah's breath caught. It was a woman, her eyes reflecting an ancient wisdom, like pools of still water. "I come as a bearer of hope," she said, her voice like a gentle breeze. "You have gathered here for healing, yet God has more in store for you. Much more." Sarah felt the energy shift again, wrapping around her and the others like a welcoming hug. The congregation held their breath, waiting. "Your journey, my friends, is one of deep transformation. You have each cried out in your loneliness, in your fears. But I tell you this, your struggles are not in vain. They are the foundation for what is to come." Her words struck deep within Sarah's soul. The memories of loss and heartache stirred anew, but they were accompanied by an unfolding vision. She saw the flowers in the vast field she had glimpsed earlier now flourishing, brighter and more alive than ever. They were not mere imaginations, but a real promise waiting to blossom. "This moment," the woman continued, "is a turning point. You stand at the threshold of divine restoration. It is time to cast off the weight of sorrow and rise into your true selves. Each of you is called to something profound, a purpose greater than your present understanding." Tears streamed down Sarah's cheeks, but they were not tears of sorrow. They were tears of unburdening, releasing all that had held her captive. She looked around at her fellow congregants, and she saw it mirrored in their eyes and understanding. A flicker of hope ignited amongst them all. The healer stepped forward, his eyes blazing with fervor. "Do you believe? Do you trust that God is moving in your midst? That the hardships you bear are being turned into a tapestry of something beautiful?" "Yes," they shouted, voices mingling in a chorus of faith, resonating through the chapel like a bell tolling in the stillness of dawn. The woman smiled, her compassionate gaze sweeping over them. "Then prepare yourselves. Open your hearts wider than you ever have before. For from this place you will embark on a pilgrimage. Each step will be a call to love, faith, and unity. But be warned, not all paths are easy." Sarah grasped the hands of those beside her, feeling the pulse of life flow between them. The spirit of hope was unfurling, a wildflower pushing through cracks in the concrete. "What if trials come?" someone whispered from the back. It was a voice laden with concern, a haunting uncertainty. The woman stepped closer, her eyes sharp yet soothing. "In trials there is strength. In uncertainty, a chance to cultivate faith beyond measure. Remember, you are not alone. Each of you carries within a light from the Father that can never be extinguished." The warm glow began to emanate again, brightening as the shadows quavered. Sarah felt it, an unmistakable stir in her spirit. Their stories were becoming entwined, woven together in grace and purpose. With every heartbeat, she felt the emergence of something new, a promise, a mission. How would they go forth together? What might they each encounter on this pathway of transformation? As the final echoes of the woman's voice faded, Sarah stood tall, a heart full of questions pushing against the walls of her newfound hope. What awaited them on the other side of obscurity? What miracles were to unfurl in their steps? The air thickened with anticipation. New beginnings awaited, and with them came the chance to explore a journey rooted in faith, courage, and revelation. Uncertainty danced in the corners, but that only fueled her fire. Where would this divine adventure lead them next? The atmosphere in the chapel seemed to shimmer with promise, the air thick with expectancy. Sarah stood rooted to the spot, her mind racing with the potential of what lay ahead. The promise of healing echoed in her heart, a theme resonating among all who had gathered. Each face around her, illuminated by hope, was a reminder that they were not simply bystanders in this divine journey. They were participants, all moving toward something greater as the woman in the soft robes continued to speak. Her voice became a melody, inviting each soul to listen not just with ears, but with their very spirits. Beloved ones, as you journey onward, you will discover hidden treasures within yourselves. Do not shy away from the places that frighten you. Instead, lean into them. Embrace every moment. Therein lies the essence of your transformation. Sarah felt something shift inside her. Was it courage? Clarity? The fire of purpose? Whatever it was, it felt like the first light of dawn breaking through the darkness. She could almost see the petals of her inner self beginning to unfold, revealing vibrant colors that had long been buried beneath her fears. The healer stepped forward, leading them deeper into this moment of revelation. You are like seeds, my friends. Seeds buried in the ground, longing for the nurturing touch of rain and sun. Although the journey may be rocky, remember that the strength to grow comes from your struggles. You will burst forth from the earth, into the light, watered by the tears you have cried. From the back of the chapel, a voice arose tentatively. But what if we stumble? The worry floated through the air, a reminder of the very real fears they all carried. But that is part of the sacred dance. The woman responded, her eyes sparking with a light that filled the room. Every stumble is a step towards discovery. Each fall is an invitation to rise up stronger, anchored in grace. Sarah felt a wave of peace roll through her, washing over her like a gentle tide. The uncertainty that had once plagued her felt lighter, almost whimsical. She thought of her past struggles, the grief and doubts, the moments of solitude that loomed so large. Could those trials truly be dressed in beauty? Remember, you are held, the woman assured softly. When you travel through the valley of shadows, you are not left to wander alone. The divine walks beside you, guiding you, supporting you. The light within you is ever present, yearning to be seen and shared. Courage blossomed within Sarah. She looked around and saw similar light shimmering in the eyes of her friends. There was a bond forming, a vibrant thread connecting them all. They were a community ignited by hope, ready to embark on a shared pilgrimage of faith and transformation. Now the healer called, his voice gaining strength. Let us pray together. Let us solidify our commitments to this pathway of hope, as one unified body. As they bowed their heads, the chapel filled with whispers of intention and resolve. Sarah felt the warmth of collective faith wrapping around her like a comforting shawl. It was tangible, a powerful reminder that they were stronger together. Where will this new journey lead us? She wondered. Would they, as a community, unveil hidden depths of love and unity? What challenges must they face to claim their new beginning? The questions stirred in her heart, urging her forward into the unknown as they lifted their heads. The sun poured through the stained glass, illuminating the space with a kaleidoscope of colors. The atmosphere crackled with energy, and Sarah sensed that something divine was about to unfold. Would they embrace the adventure ahead? Would they trust in the promise of restoration? Only time would reveal the beauty of their pilgrimage, woven together by faith. Let us step boldly into this new chapter, the woman said, her gaze piercing through the veil of uncertainty. Your miraculous new beginning awaits if you have the courage to seek it. And with that, the congregation stood at the threshold of transformation, ready to embark on a journey where divine revelations lingered just beyond the horizon. What awaited them, hidden in the embrace of faith. As the congregation rose from their prayers, a hush fell over the chapel, a sacred silence filled with anticipation. Sarah could feel the energy thrumming in the air, like the subtle vibration of strings plucked by an unseen hand. It was as if the very walls of the chapel were holding their breath, waiting for the moment when hope would blossom into reality. The healer stood tall, a gentle smile lighting up her face. Now, dear ones, open your hearts and minds to the whispers of truth that await. Each word held a promise, a beacon beckoning them deeper into their journey. We are on the cusp of something wondrous. The divine has plans for you, plans for restoration, renewal, and an outpouring of love that surpasses all understanding. As she spoke, Sarah's heart raced. Those words echoed within her like a familiar hymn, resonating with a melody she'd always known but had only just begun to grasp. Could it be that the tapestry of her life was being woven anew, each thread infused with purpose and grace? Around her, she noticed others nodding, their faces bright with newfound determination. There was a soft murmur among her friends, fueled by a shared belief that they were not isolated in their struggles, but united as one heart, one spirit. Let us journey together, the healer continued, her voice rising gently to a crescendo. Together, we will explore our depths, our fears, our longings. We will find in each other a reflection of the divine, and in our unity, we'll discover our strength. And then, with a gentle motion, she lifted her arms, inviting them to join in a collective embrace. Sarah felt an urge to reach out, and slowly, hands found hands, creating a chain of warmth and safety. Their small circle expanded, enfolding more and more people until the entire chapel radiated with intertwined fingers, hearts beating in rhythm as one. In this moment, Sarah caught a glimmer of something ineffable, a reflection of hope shining in each person's eyes. It felt as though they were all seeds perched at the edge of the dawn, ready to break free from their earthly confines and stretch toward the sun. All it took was faith. The healer whispered a prayer of affirmation, calling upon the higher power that binds them all. Sarah's heart soared, feeling interconnected with everyone present. Each prayer offered was a seed being sown in the fertile ground of their shared dreams. Now, the healer said, lowering her voice to a soothing melody, let us turn to the garden of our hearts. What do you wish to cultivate in this sacred space? Speak your truth. Whispers flitted through the congregation like gentle breezes. People shared their desires for healing from past wounds, the wish to let go of doubt, and dreams of new beginnings. Each declaration was a tiny act of courage, a release of burdens that had loomed like dark clouds. Sarah closed her eyes, the warmth of her friends surrounding her. She envisioned herself planting her own seeds of longing, abandoning fear, embracing love, and nurturing trust. Tears brimmed in her eyes, not from sadness but from the weight lifting, a joyous release. May they blossom, she breathed aloud, her voice blending with the others in prayer. May they flourish into something beautiful. With each word spoken, the chapel vibrated, the air thick with reverence. Sarah felt a shift in the atmosphere, as if the very stones beneath them were resonating with their intentions. Something miraculous was about to happen. She could feel it coursing through her veins. But as they stepped into the moment of shared faith, a sudden chill wrapped around them like a whisper of doubt. What if it does not happen as we expect? A voice, softer yet filled with trepidation, broke through the harmony that had cocooned them. Sarah felt her heart clench. Would they falter at the brink of their hope? Would doubt creep into the warmth they had just embraced? The healer responded gently, the journey is often not what we anticipate, dear ones. Trust that in every season there's purpose, even in what feels like a delay of promises. As they held onto that truth, Sarah couldn't shake the question that lingered in her mind. What would their journeys reveal? What would they discover in the unexpected twists ahead? The healing had begun, but the path lay shrouded in divine mystery. Would they dare to walk it together, embracing whatever awaited them on the horizon? The chapel remained filled with a stillness that felt alive, vibrating with the shared hope of its congregation. Underneath the solemn hush, Sarah could hear the soft rhythms of hearts beating united in prayer, each pulse a testament to their collective faith. As the healer's words faded into gentle echoes, an electric charge of possibility floated through the air, weaving around them like sacred silk. Let us breathe together, the healer instructed, her tone soothing. Inhale deeply, let the breath of the divine fill your lungs, and as you exhale, release what no longer serves you. Let go of the burdens that weigh heavy on your spirit. Sarah followed suit, inhaling a bated breath deep into her being. With each cycle, she let images of fear, regret, and doubt wash away. It was as if she could feel chains falling away, shimmering into dust with the release of her breath. Her insides began to flutter with newfound liberation, a dance of joy sparking within. The healer opened her eyes, meeting Sarah's gaze, her eyes filled with knowing. Each of you is a vessel of light, dear ones. What you release opens space for the new. What do you long to embrace? The question hung in the air, rich and weighty. Sarah felt her spirit stir, the answer bubbling up from the depths. She wished to cultivate patience, to embrace the divine's timing, to trust and surrender. The words formed a prayer in her heart, but it was only when shared with others that their full power could be unleashed. Encouraged by the healer's prompting, Sarah turned to her neighbors. I want to embrace patience, she found herself saying, her voice steady amidst the growing chorus of intention. To trust that every moment is part of God's perfect plan. As her neighbors shared their own desires, the atmosphere grew charged, each declaration carving paths to their hearts. Voices mingled to create a harmonious symphony. Longings for healing, peace, and new beginnings bubbled forth. The words wove together like the intricate embroidery of a tapestry, each note significant, and each prayer precious. Suddenly, a soft yet powerful wind swept through the chapel. It swirled around them, caressing cheeks and ruffling hair, bringing a sensation that felt like warmth, like the enveloping hug of love. People gasped in awe, recognizing it as an unspoken sign of divine presence. Behold, the healer said, her eyes twinkling with wonder, the Holy Spirit joins our gathering. Trust in the movement of this moment. The wind whispered through the open veins of their collective faith, igniting a fierce energy that left no doubt something sacred was flowing among them. Sarah could feel the tears stream down her cheeks, but this time they were tears of unfiltered joy. She glanced around, seeing others with tears glimmering in their eyes, hearts laid bare. In that instant, their vulnerabilities transformed into strength, held in the light of shared beliefs. A sudden jolt of remembrance surged through Sarah. A story from Scripture came to her mind. She recalled the Israelites at the shores of the Red Sea, held captive by fear yet stepping forward not knowing what lay ahead. The trust that God had parted the waters stirred a sense of courage within her as this realization washed over her. She turned back to the healer, vulnerable yet filled with powerful anticipation. Let us be the ones who step forward, she said, her voice steady and filled with conviction. Let us trust the waters will part for us too. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the congregation, each prayer an unwavering belief that the divine was guiding their steps. They stood on the edge, hearts ablaze with undeniable unity, ready to embrace whatever might unfold. But, just then, a roiling darkness seeped into Sarah's bright vision, a fleeting thought that challenged her brave declaration. What if we step forward and the waters do not part? The healer sensed the tremor and smiled gently, her warmth spreading like sunlight. Ah, but beloveds, what if the journey itself is the miracle? What if the waters reveal the path of unexpected grace? Sarah's heart clenched at the thought, but something stirred. Could the beauty of their journey lie in the uncertainty? Would they find strength in the struggle? As they stood together in that moment of faith, a lingering question hung in the air, heavy with promise and mystery. What awaited them on the other side of the waters? What transformation would they witness as they took that bold first step? As the congregation gazed expectantly at the healer, a powerful sense of unity enveloped them. Sarah felt it pulse through her, flowing with every heartbeat. They stood at the threshold, poised to step into the unknown together. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, pregnant with the promise of what could unfold. Together, let us embrace the miraculous transformation that lies ahead. The healer's voice rang out again, its strength brightening the room. The words were like matchsticks igniting the flame of courage within their hearts. As the waters rise, we shall not waver when we align our spirits. We create a path illuminated by faith. Tears welled in Sarah's eyes once more, but this time they were tears of clarity and strength. She understood now that healing, both physical and spiritual, was not just for her but for all of them. The challenges they faced would bring them closer together, forging bonds unlike any they had known. She turned to her fellow congregants, seeing the determination mirrored in their expressions. Are we ready? The healer asked, a challenge laced with excitement. The congregation answered with a crescendo of affirmations. their voices mixing in a rich tapestry of belief that enveloped the chapel like a warm blanket. Then let us take the first step together. Let our voices rise with confidence. Our prayers become the winds that carry our hopes into the heavens. With newfound determination, they joined hands once more, creating a chain that spanned the room. The energy was electric, each linked hand sizzling with faith, each heartbeat drawing them closer as one body. Trust in his promises, Sarah whispered to herself, letting the words wash over her. The healer nodded knowingly, guiding them forward with her radiant smile. Now close your eyes and imagine the waters that block our paths. See them clearly, but know that they will part. As they inhaled and exhaled together, Sarah visualized the sea before them. The waters were dark and turbulent, full of doubt and fear. Yet in her heart, she felt the stirring of a divine current, a shimmering light that urged her to step into the unknown. And then they took the plunge. Lord, we trust in you. Their voices wove together, a communal prayer that eclipsed the sound of their trepidation. Light enveloped the room, filling every corner with warmth and grace. Sarah sensed the divine presence drawing nearer, as if the heavens had opened wide to welcome their cries for help. A soft rustling filled the room, and one by one, their eyes flew open, filling with wonder. Before them, shadows began to lift and the edges of their fears softened, revealing a tapestry woven from love, hope, and perseverance. The dark waters dissolved, giving way to a bright pathway lit by their collective faith. See, the healer pointed at the shimmering path. This is the way. The divine has parted the waters for us together. We shall walk into our new beginnings. They stepped forward in unison, emotions intertwining in exhilarating waves. Laughter bubbled up from the depths of their souls, the music of joy igniting each heartbeat. In this moment, they were no longer simply individuals battling personal struggles. They were a community refreshed by shared dreams, a family bound in divine purpose. Tears streamed down Sarah's face, not of sadness but of overwhelming gratitude. Thank you, Lord, she exclaimed, her hands held high. Thank you for this miracle, this new beginning. The congregation echoed her sentiment, a harmonious chorus that filled the air with celebration. They rejoiced in the miracle that unfolded before them, a manifestation not just of healing, but of unity and love, a celebration of the divine threads that connected their lives. We will rise together. We will flourish together, they declared, moving forward with unshakable resolve. Each step they took resonated with purpose. Their struggles transformed into blessings, their hearts pulsing with hope as they emerged from the shadowy depths into the light. Sarah's spirit soared. The road ahead would still hold its challenges, but wrapped in faith, they were equipped to face whatever may come next. This was their story of restoration, a joyous beginning, a miraculous pilgrimage of love. Together, they walked as one, illuminated by the light of possibilities. Their voices mingled in triumphant song, a symphony of grateful hearts claiming their rightful place in the divine tapestry. And so, dear friends, they embarked on a journey toward their miraculous new beginning. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your actions matter. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this ending. We want to hear from you. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Let us spread the light together.